And I think we are live. There we go. Took YouTube a second to connect. And I'm a couple of minutes early. I'm just going to wait on a few people to gather in. Hi, Sue. Thank you for that sound check. Hi, Louise. Hi, Debbie. Everybody's starting to trickle in. And the calendar is up in the group, under the group photo. You'll find that there in the pin post. This is the 14th, and we're doing our tutorial Thursday. And tomorrow we've got a cute little card that I will be posting up. There will not be a video for tomorrow, but there will be a file posted, and I will post it in the group. Hi, Barbara. So today we're going to talk about putting iron-on cards, and we are going to recreate this file. I'm going to show you guys how I did this. But before I get started on that, I want to show you what the card looks like that we're making, so that you'll have a general idea of what's going on with what we're building here, so you won't be in the total darkness of what's going on. I'm in Florida too, Barbara. Yay. Excuse me, a little tickle in my throat. Somebody from New Zealand, welcome. So let's see, this is our card. Let me pop overhead here. Yay, there we are. I'm going to move my keyboard out of the way. So this on the front, I don't know if you can see that reflection on there. That is iron-on. And this is iron-on the flap of the envelope. This is the Cricut foil iron-on. And then we have our card, the envelope. We're going to be making that. And then here is our card. And on the inside we have Happy Christmas to You. Now this is the Cricut foil poster board right here. So that I've glued on, and I'm going to show you a tip and trick to do that. We created this shape and we put the iron-on there as well. So you can see that shine on that. That's iron-on, let it snow. And then this piece back here is a piece of vellum. I got this vellum from Arizona, Barbara. Yay! What part of Florida? This vellum is from Stampin' Up. Okay, and in the description of the file, you'll find the file under my profile. If you follow my profile, this file is in there, but you can build your own too. I put Amanda's link to this holographic vellum. Now, if you don't want to purchase that, that's fine and good. I'm going to show you a little tip and trick for making your own. Now, it's not going to be holographic, but you can use your scraps of iron-on to build it up and make your own. And then you can add a little pop of color to it. I'll show you as well how to add that pop of color in there, just so it's not too plain. Okay? Because you're going to need some color if you're making your own, just like I needed the color on this one. So, super easy and super fun to make these. And you'll be surprised how easy it is. Now, you may be noticing that on this vellum, this snowflake here, I wanted a snowflake that mimicked that, so I made one in design space. And we're going to do that. I'm going to show you guys how you can look at something like this and create it yourself. So that's where the snowflake from the envelope came from, and the snowflake that's overlaid in the foil poster board, where that came from. It came from this design that was on my vellum. Hey, Marianne. So let's pop over to Designspace, and we're going to start building up this card. So if you want to open up a blank page, you can do that and learn how to design this card with me. Crestview, I'm not sure where that's at. I'm in Daytona. Okay, so generally when I start a card, I start with the card itself. So I'm just going to pull everything out of the way. And the way that I build my card is I decide on a size. And square cards are really making a comeback. Even the 7x7 squares, which we can't cut on our Cricut, but you can cut the base itself on your trimmer. And then if you have the 24-inch cardstock, you can cut that on your trimmer, and then you can do the rest of it in Designspace. So if you want to do the 7x7s and use a base that's already made, you could do that too. But to make this one fit, I made it 5.5. So it's 5.5 squares. So in order to get a square card, I need to double one side. So the first thing you're going to do is get a shape, and that's going to be a square, of course. And then we're going to unlock it. Now, we've had some updates to Designspace, and our handles move and stretch our images. To unlock it, to change that, you have to go up to the toolbar now and click on Unlock. Okay? Once you've unlocked it, then you can come in here and you can change the sizing. And so we're going to make this one 5.5 inches wide. And then we're going to double our length to make it 11 inches. And then we have our base. And I'm just going to lock that back so we don't accidentally buff our mouse and change the size. And I'm going to change my grid or my panel back there so you guys can see when I start working on this. So I'm going to select a color. Let's just make it a pale orange maybe. There we go. So that we can see everything. Oh, 24 miles from Destin. So you're close to Panama City and St. Mary and all that. Okay, gotcha. All right, so now we have that. And I always make my base whatever color that I am planning to use so that I know I can get my colors working as I go. So I'm gonna use a white base. And I know I'm going to have a score line, so I grab that score line, and I'm going to rotate it, and that's done up on the top of the bar here at 90 degrees. And then you need it to be the same width as your card, so I'm going to change that 2.5 default to 5.5. Right up there on the toolbar, that's where we changed that under the lock. No need to unlock a score line. And then I'm just going to select my score line. It's already selected for me. And I'm going to hold my shift key down and select the card as well. So if you look in the layers panel, those two layers are selected. And then we're going to come up here to align. You're going to be doing a lot of aligning when you're building your own card. Hi, Crystal. Yay, well, welcome. Hey, Kathy Ann. So once you have those two selected, you're going to align center, dead center, down here at the bottom. And that's going to place that in there. And while everything's still selected, I'm coming to the bottom of the layers panel and I'm going to attach. So now when I move that and I send it to the mat, my score line's not going to move. Then you need to look for a sentiment that's going to go on the inside of your card. This up here is the inside fold. This is the base when you open the card down here. And I like to, when I'm building mine up, put my images up here so that I know that they're going to fit. And so you'll see me do that. I'll put all my images up here on the top and then my sentiment down here. Now you can go into Designspace and grab any sentiment you want. I'm just going to use this one, so I'm just going to come over here and duplicate it. We're going to pretend I brought it in. And you're going to size it to whatever size that you want. And I think 3.2, 3.25 is perfect for this big square card at 5.5 inches. It's a nice size. If you go much bigger than that, sometimes it can be overwhelming and slam you in the face when they open that card. So be mindful of how big you're making your sentiments on the inside, okay? You want to give it a little bit of room on each side. How do I get that dead center if I want it? Or how do I get it to go exactly center? Because with this being an off size at 3.214, it's going to be kind of hard to judge exactly where center is just by putting it in the position tool. So my little tip and trick for you guys, and if you've been with me a while, you know this is how I do it. My finished card is going to be 5.5 square, correct? So I'm going to get another square, and I could probably just duplicate one that I have, but I'm going to get a new one. And I'm going to make it 5.5 because that, when my card is folded up, that's the size it's going to be. I am going to take that square and my card. I'm holding my shift key and selecting both of them. And I'm going to align it to the bottom. And I'm going to align it, center it horizontally. Now this square is lined up perfectly with the bottom half of my card. Okay? And I'm going to make it a lighter color just so you guys can see. And then once you have it selected, you're going to arrange and you're going to move that backward. And now you can judge just about, because you can see that green area, and that's going to be the inside of your card. And you can decide if you want it dead center, if you want it up here higher a little bit. That's totally up to you. But if you want it dead center, you're going to select your sentiment, hold your shift key, and select that square only. You're going to align, center. Now that sentiment is dead center of the card. If you just want to center it up higher and not put it dead center down so low, put it at the height that you want it, select it, select your square, and instead of align center horizontally, and then that will space it. Then you're just going to click off of it and pull that, and then click the green square and get rid of it. You don't have to move this. I'm going to move that back to center though, just so it stays like this one so you guys can see. So I've got it centered in there. I click off. I'm going to click on just this green square. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to set my pen color. And on this card, I used the Midnight Blue extra fine point. So you can come in here, and it doesn't say Midnight Blue, but there is a blue one, so that's what I selected. And once you have your pen color and your type pen selected, select the sentiment, select the card, go back to the bottom of the layers panel, and attach. Now your card base is ready to go, and you're finished with it. Does anybody have any questions on setting up the card base? I just got rid of that because we already have one built, and I'm just going to work off of it now. If you have questions, put them in caps. We're happy to stop and answer them at any time. I'm going to move that out of the way. So the next thing that I did, and I knew that I was going to do a white top on this card because I wanted the holographic vellum, or if you're doing iron-on vellum, you'll want that to be your focal point. So I didn't want a ton of color to grab the attention away from the focal point of my card, which was going to be my iron-on, my foil iron-on. Hi, Connie. So all I did was grab a square, and I wanted a good sized border. So I took this down, and generally I do an 1/8 of an inch or a quarter of an inch smaller than what my finished card size would be. So generally, if it's 5.5, I would go at 5.25 or 5.375. But I wanted a bigger border because I was going tone on tone. I wanted it to look intentional and not like a mistake. So I intentionally made this a 1/2 inch smaller to give me a good sized border around. So all you're going to do is bring in a square, change it to white, and make it 5 inches. And you're done with that part. And this is what I'm saying. This is why I build it up on the top part of the card here, so I can see about what my card's going to look like. Now I'm going to put my vellum on there. So I need a piece of vellum, and I wanted it to have a good size border too. So I took it down another inch rather than a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch that I normally do. So I took that vellum down to 4 inches. So that's just a square at 4 inches. But it's going to be cut from a different material than this cardstock is. I don't want it sending it to the same mat as my white. So all I did was come in and change my color by going to the white, and then you can go to advanced and then just bump that over. It doesn't matter if it's pink or gray or whatever, you know that's going to be your vellum. You just want that color to be slightly different than your base cardstock so you can keep it on a separate mat. Okay? So this is going to be your vellum. If you've got the holographic vellum or a pattern vellum that you want to use, that's perfect. If not, then you're going to be making cardstock, iron-on from your scraps to go on that piece. So if you don't have vellum, you can cut that from a different color cardstock, maybe a pattern cardstock, something that's light and airy, and you can still kind of get this look. Okay, so tons of things that you can do. You can use vellum, you can use a pattern paper. With this card, I would go light because you want your iron-on to be your focal point. That's the purpose of this card. So pick something light and airy, cardstock, vellum, any of those. Then, as I said before, and I'm going to pop over as just a reminder, this was my inspiration, was this snowflake on here. So we're going to learn how to make that snowflake because I couldn't find one in Designspace that looked like that. There are lots of pretty ones in Access, but not one that matched this. And I wanted it to match the card and match my inspiration piece. So let's pop back over and let's figure out how to make that. Super easy. And then we're going to come to this piece. This piece is super easy too. Now I have 2 different colors in here. One of them, this is the light colored one. This one in your file is going to be cut from the Cricut foil poster board. That's going to be this one. The darker one is your iron-on because you want it to go to a different mat. So I've got those 2 separated. So to make this, you're going to need, guess what shapes? All you're going to need is a square and a circle. You don't need anything else to make this shape, the snowflake. So we're going to come in here and I'm going to get a square. I'm going to pull that over and I'm going to get a circle. Okay, and I am actually going to duplicate that circle so I have another one, just a spare one. So I'm going to start with this square and I'm going to unlock it. And the width, however you want to do it, is totally going to be up to you. And I'm just going to squeeze that down. Probably, I think I used a 0.0625. And I don't even know what size I made it. I worked with it on my canvas and then sized it after. But if you want to know exactly how long that is, I think it's probably 1.75 is probably what I did. 0.0625. And no 2 snowflakes are alike, so it doesn't really matter, right? So get your size down on that. That's all you need. And just duplicate it just in case you make a boo-boo. Okay? And you're going to use, you can use it again, but you really only need one. Now I'm going to take this circle, and I think I made it 0.075, something like that. No, that's too small. I don't know what I made it. Just, I eyeballed everything. to be honest. But we can come up here and figure it out. That looks about right. So 144, something like that. So that looks good to me. So I've got one for the end, and I'm just, now that I have my size on it, I'm just going to duplicate it. Okay. And it can be hard to move with these new handles when you have something small. So I click into my canvas, then I use my mouse and I click on it and I don't let go and I just drag it. Super easy that way. Super, super easy. And now I'm going to duplicate it yet again. Click off, click on and drag. And then I'm going to duplicate that one more time. Click off, click on and drag. All right, super easy and simple. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just that top circle and the bar, and I'm going to align, center it horizontally. I want to make sure it's in the middle, okay? And then I'm just going to select those two and weld. Then I'm going to take that bottom one and the bar, and I'm going to align, center it horizontally, and weld. If I go too fast for you guys, just let me know. I'm going to duplicate that one more time. I'm going to click off and drag it over. We will need it, but not right this second. Then I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to align, center. So now I have one dead center right there, okay? I'm not going to weld that one in. Do not weld that one. Then I'm going to bring one up right here, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Now you can go into a lot of detail and make sure that they're all dead center if you want and center it up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to align, center horizontally. I'm going to move this bar out of the way. I'm going to move the center one out of the way. I'm going to select those two and weld. Now I'm just going to center that up. So I'm going to select all of that, align, center. I'm going to weld it. Okay. Now I'm going to duplicate this 2 times. Duplicate, duplicate. I'm going to get both of them. Oops. You have to group now. To move them both together, you have to group them and then drag it over. That's okay. So I'm going to ungroup it now. And with them ungrouped, I'm going to align. Before I do that, we're going to select one. And this is where your rotate's going to be really important. You're going to rotate one 60 degrees. And you can either duplicate that and flip it horizontally, or you can take the other one and rotate it 120 degrees. Then you're going to select the 3, align, center, and weld. Now we have the center of our snowflake. Okay? Take this dot or this circle, just select the 2, align, center, weld. I should have made that one a little bit bigger. So I'm going to undo it. I'm just going to bump him out just a little bit for the center. And then align, center, weld. That looks better. Okay, so now we have that piece done. Super easy. But how do we do these pieces? Believe it or not, we can delete this one right here. This is done from 2 circles. You're going to duplicate it. You're just going to overlap it. Just like that. Just overlap them. Select them both, align, center it horizontally, and slice. I only have 2 layers, so you can slice 2 layers at a time. Super easy. Then you're just going to size that up and bring it in. And then after I size it, I duplicate that rather than using my trash down here. Just going to get rid of that. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to bring that one in right here. And that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to select just those two pieces. Going to align to the top so that they're even and weld. So now I have that, and I'm going to duplicate that 2 times. We're going to rotate one 60 degrees. We're going to rotate one 120 degrees. Then we're just going to take these 3. We're going to select them all, align, center, and weld. Looks like a flower, right? Then you're just going to take this piece, align, center it again, and weld. And you have your snowflake. Now this one's a little bit looser than this, but you can tighten them up. I just wanted you guys to see how you can do that. Does anybody have any questions about aligning and rotating and centering, any of your alignment tools and how they work? So I'm just going to get rid of this one. And again, you can play with it and make them as detailed as you want. You can add more to it. You can add some dots out there. Lots of things that you can do. But we're just going to stick with the 2 I have. Then this one is super easy. This was created from a circle, a square, and the rectangle, the rounded rectangle. So if you go into your shapes and you select this rounded rectangle here, and then you're going to get a circle, and then you're going to get a square. That's what I used to make that. This, I don't think I even sized it. I think I left it just the way it came in at 2.5 inches. Hey, Dolores. So that piece is at 2.5 inches, and I'm going to change this to white because this is going to be my piece, my sentiment piece. And then I've got my square, and all I did is, again, come up to the top and unlock it because we don't have those handles anymore. And I made it just shy of, you know, just popped it out a little bit from this. I think I went like a 1/4 inch bigger, so if that's 2.5, I probably made that 3 inches. So I'm just going to make it 3. And then this is 1.677. I probably made that 1.75, but I don't know. It doesn't look like I did. Looks like it's, oops, didn't want to rotate it. Looks like it's about the same, so I'm just going to leave it. So I'll make this, I'm going to stretch it down 3 by 1.25 maybe. Just kind of eyeball it. Oops, got to unlock it. Make that 3 again. That looks good. So now I have 2 shapes here. Again, you're going to select the 2. You're going to align and center. Whatever color is on the bottom is what color it's going to be when you weld. So the white is on the bottom. It should stay white. And we're going to come over and we're going to weld that. Pretty easy, huh? And now I'm going to make this. I took my circle and I unlocked it. And I squished it down to an oval. And I made it smaller. So this was 0.125. I probably made that 0.75. So my height, 0.75. And let's make our width a 0.5. That looks good. So just kind of oval shaped, or you can get the oval out of there too if you want to, but I usually end up having to change the oval a little bit. So that looks like I need to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to go 0.6 and unlock it. Oh, that doesn't really matter. That looks good there. I'm going to arrange, I'm sorry, I'm going to duplicate that. Once I have that shape, I'm going to duplicate it. So now I'm bringing this in. I'm going to arrange and send that to the back just so I can get an eye on it. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to slide this piece out of the way, select those two, align to the top, and weld. Okay, and now the white is still on the bottom, so it should stay that color. We're going to align center and weld. And now we have our shape. Now at this point, if you want to change it in its width, anything like that, you can unlock it and size it up however you want. It's pretty close. It's not exact, but it's close. Size it up how you want and then lock it back. Once you have your sizing down, then you can make your offset. And I probably made this 0.08 because I wanted a bigger border but not too much. So I made it 0.08, and then make sure that you take this off the rounded corner because you don't want to round out these sharp corners here. That takes away from, this one will be nice and sharp and this one will be rounded. So make sure that you change that to the squared off and apply, and that'll give you that crisp corner right here, just like these have. Now this will be my poster board, so I'm going to make it the same color as that one. And then I can align center. And I'm just going to group that. So then we have that. Now you'll go and get whatever sentiment you want. I found this one in Access, and all I did was size it up to fit the center of my design and align center, and then size it accordingly. If you like the way that it's looking, then you're good to go. You just need to make it the color of your iron-on, which is this dark one, and then you're good to go with it. You don't want to attach this because this is cut from iron-on. It's not going to be cut out of that. So you don't want to attach it. We're not drawing. Is everybody with me so far? So that's super easy, super simple, and you've got that card designed. Now this snowflake is just a duplicate of that, just made for iron-on for our card. And I made this out of circles, nothing but circles. So I know that my card is going to be, because when we do square envelopes at this size, sometimes it's hard to get an envelope that will work because we can only cut maximum size 11.5. So when you use circles, you can get an envelope out of one sheet of cardstock. Okay, super simple and easy. Now my card is going to be 5.5, so I'm going to bump this circle up to 5.75. All right, so I'm just going to pull that out of the way, and I'm going to make this 5.75, and I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, just need 2, and I'm just going to bring them into touch. I'm going to check my size. When I select both of them, if you bring them in just to where they touch, that's all you want. Just want them to touch. I'm going to align, center them vertically, or to the top, or to the bottom. Doesn't matter, whichever one you select. And they touch. Now when I select it, look at my size. It's 11.5. That's perfect. And my height is 5.75. That's perfect. While they're selected, I'm going to weld them. Now it's welded. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to rotate that duplication 90 degrees. I'm going to select the 2, align, center, weld. Boom, I have an envelope. I just have to put the finishing touch on it. Let's make it blue, a pale blue that matches our card and our theme. And now I need my score lines. My card is 5.5. I'm just going to use this square that's here and duplicate it. And I'm going to make that 5.75, the same as my circles. 5.75. Same size as my circles, and it will meet corner to corner. Okay? I'm going to align, center, and now I'm going to select that square and I'm coming to operation. We're going to change that to a score. And then we're going to attach it. Boom, envelope done. How quick and easy was that envelope? Super simple, super easy. And I have two different ones here, but you can see they're the same. Should be 11.5 by 11.5 when it's said and done. So if anybody has any questions at all on creating, I'm just going to save that. Don't need to, but I'm just going to save it. That's my working file. If anybody has any questions or needs me to cover that again or cover any part of it, let me know, and I'm happy to do so. We'll answer your questions and all that, but let's put one together. Yay! So when you're doing iron-on, and this is me, I don't like to use my my easy press mats. I like to use a piece of cardboard, so I have something that's won't hold a whole lot of heat, but will allow me to press down on it and keep my vellum and my cardstocks flat. Now I went ahead and did this one, and all I did was iron it onto a piece of scrap vellum, and these are just the scraps of Cricut silver foil iron-on. And what I did to get a pop of color on this, if you're not going to get the holographic, you can see that it's got some blue in there. All I did, guys, after I ironed it on, is I got one of my ink pads, and I just brushed off some ink, and then I went in over on this vellum, just gently, just swirling some ink from my ink pads right over those snowflakes. You want to be careful not to bend your vellum or your cardstock. Now you can do that with cardstock too. And then that's going to give you some color for this card if you're doing your background that way. And it's not going to affect the foil. It's not going to hurt it. Okay, this is just a regular vellum, Connie. It's just a regular vellum. There's nothing special about it. And I put the iron-on on there. And when I iron on the vellum, I do it exactly like I do it on my cardstock. You don't want to heat this too long because it's like a plasticky paper. And you don't want to heat your cardstock too long either because it will warp. So if you're getting a lot of warping, it's because you're overheating, okay? So super easy. This vellum is a special vellum. And in the file, Connie, that I shared in my profile, there's a link to it. I shop with Amanda Nehemiah. She is a patron supporter. So I shop with her, and I got this from them. It comes in a pack. You get 6 sheets for $10. It's a little pricey, guys, but it's gorgeous and it's awesome. You get 3 holographic sheets like this, okay? And that's what I cut mine and based this card off of. Then you get what I call the snow dots. You get that sheet. You can see the back of it there. And that one's in holographic too. Then you get this sheet, which is a little bit different from this one. You can see the different snowflakes on it. So, but it still has the same one that we recreated tonight. So you have, and it has some dots in the background of this one too. But I was covering most of this up with my sentiment, so I didn't go that busy. And then in that pack, you get the same exact patterns, but this is flocked, guys. It's like a velvet flocking on the top of it. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And you get that in all 3 patterns too. I love flocked vellum. I just love it. It's one of my favorite things. So this is our panel, and this is the panel that's going to go on the card. Okay, so we're going to start with the card first. Just get my bone folder here. And you're just going to fold that on your score. Super easy. And then this is the next piece. And this one, like I said, is going to be a tone on tone. And we don't want to glue that flat down. We want to bump that up to give it some dimension. So I'm using a thick foam tape. And I'm just going to, that's not the one, this is a thick foam tape. And you're just going to run a bead of that. I do top, bottom, and center. Just so that when I push down in the center, it doesn't, to put my sentiment on, it's not going to collapse on me. Don't want to put a fold in there. So just 3 strips. And I'm just going to fold that one back. And fold this one back. And then remove that one in the center. Now I'm just going to bring my card. Make sure you're placing it on the right part of the card. If your card's flipped over, your sentiment's going to be in the wrong place. So make sure you got it in the right spot. And then we're just going to center that up. And press down the center, and then we can pull out those tabs. And I do it that way, so if I need to loosen it up, I'm not going to rip the whole card apart trying to adjust. Okay, so now you can see that how much difference just that foam tape makes when you're doing a tone on tone. And you can do this with your reds and blues too, okay? But make sure you use some thicker foam dots or a foam tape to do that with. Next, I'm going to use my vellum, and we all know that vellum can curl, or any tapes and stuff you use can be seen through the vellum because it's a see-through type paper. But what I do on this, because I have that pattern, I don't know if it's going to show on there, but I'm going to go in and I am putting my glue where my pattern is at, so that when it glues down, it will be glued down, but it's not going to show on the edges. And I found that when I did the other one, it was plenty of glue, didn't need a ton of it, and it stuck perfectly fine. But I just went through and just placed it, you know, tried to get the corners, some in the centers and the edges, just so that it would stay. So I just kind of dotted it, there you can see it, so that it was under, there we go, so that it was on the pattern piece. So then you can flip it over and decide where you want that, which way you want it to go, that's what I mean. And then you want to center that up and place it. You don't want to do a lot of scooting because then that glue will spread out into the other areas. On this white, it's not too bad, but if you're putting it on a color like red or something, you'll see those glue smears. So super easy and simple there. And I haven't weeded this yet because for those of you who have never weeded iron-on, I wanted you to see. And you can mirror this. You have to mirror your Let It Snow. But if you don't mirror your snowflakes, it's not a big deal. And then you're just going to get that corner and peel that off. Cricut foil iron-on is so pretty, and it weeds so easy. Super easy. All right, so now we have that weeded. I have another one here. This is the one I cut from my foil poster board, and it moved on me because I was rough with it. What I did, guys, is I left this on my mat, and I got a piece of Cricut transfer tape. And the reason this moved is because I don't tack it down hard. I take that transfer tape and I tap it on my t-shirt or my jeans, and then I place it on top of my foil poster board on the mat so nothing moves. And then I flip my mat over and I peel my mat away from my poster board so that it all kind of stays on, and you can see that it's loose, but it's holding it in place. Okay, Super easy and simple. I'm just going to set that to the side now because we're going to be gluing that on, but we have to get the rest of it done first. And I have 2 Let It Snows. And I'm just going to say, if you're using the one that I put in the file, that's fine and good. There is a little tick in the O right here and in the W right here. Leave it alone. It isn't big enough to weed out. It's kind of like a little pinprick. And if you try to weed it out, you're going to mess it up. So instead of throwing this away, I'm going to use that for my envelope, just like I did the other. And then I'm going to use this one on my cardstock. So all I'm going to do is figure out where I want that on my cardstock, try to get it center best I can. And then I'm just going to press it down and look at it and decide if I want to adjust and get it adjusted. Okay, so let me pull this out of the way. I'm going to, while this is heating up, and I'm just using my mini press on the first setting. So I'm going to let that heat up. While it's heating up, we're going to fold our envelope. And if you want your foil iron-on to have a little bit of texture, put your texture outside. If you want it to be smooth, use your smoother side. This is from Cricut. I don't know what pack it's out of, but it's a really pretty light blue. And you're just going to fold on all 4 of those score lines. Oops. Okay, and I like this one. I like to do these 2 flaps here and then the bottom flap up for this card. That way when I'm putting my card in and out, it doesn't get hung on anything. So the way I do that is I just come in here and I just hold my thumb so I know where to stop with my glue and just go right along the edge on both sides, just like that. So if you hold your thumb to where it comes up to, then you'll be fine. And then I just go around this outer edge. We're just going to plop it down. And let that dry. Okay? While that's drying, this is my iron-on. I'm going to place my snowflake there, and then this is my messed up Let It Snow. You'll need to duplicate this in the, if you're doing the envelope, because there's only 1 in the file, so you'll need to do a second one. So I'm going to get those where I want them. And I'm going to bring in my little piece of cardstock, and this is very technical the way I do this, guys. So pay attention. Hi, Mary Lou. So pay attention, guys, because this is the way I do this. All right? You have to be able to count to 10, okay? Because that's what I do. That's it. That's it. So I'm going to let that cool, okay? And while that's cooling, because foil is a cold peel, no matter what you're putting it on, I'm going to bring this one down and get that where I want it. Okay? And again, we're going to get real technical, and we're going to count to 10. And I do keep it moving. I don't want to overheat. I keep it moving. Connie, are you laughing at me or with me? So once this is cooled, carefully just start peeling back your carrier. And it's done. How pretty is that? Once this cools, again, go carefully. If it's not stuck, I got a little piece right there not stuck. Good, I'm glad that happened. I come back in, count to 10. You want me to count out loud? Okay, I'll do it. So you know how fast I count, right? Okay, gotcha. So we're going to let that cool. While that's cooling, we're going to do this piece. This is the last one. I'm glad you said something, Sue, because this was the last chance. And I am doing mine on my textured side. I don't mind if I have a little bit of texture in the foil. I think it looks cool. So I like it. I'm going to place that. Maybe it doesn't want to live there. That's why it came up. Get that. Now I can't pick it up. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. So now I've got that, and I'm just holding my carrier here. So here we go, Sue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. There you go. Yeah, the cardboard kind of helps you get that pressure without bending your cardstock. If you use your easy press mat, let me see if I've got a piece. I don't have cards. If you use your mat, see what happens when I depress and give any kind of pressure, how it wrinkles up. So see how it does? You don't want to do that. And if you use the cardboard and you give it a little bit of pressure, it stays flat. So, and it won't melt anything like your mat or anything like that if you're doing it that way. So now this is cool. Let me try to peel that again. Perfect. Like I said, count to 10. It's better to do it twice than it is to overheat it and ruin all the work that you've done. So look how pretty that is. I mean, I've got great shine. It's hard to pick up on camera. I have a tiny bit of texture where I did it on there, but I still have beautiful shine. No, Marianne, no thousands between accounts. No. You'll burn your cardstock. Don't burn your cardstock. All right, so we're going to do the same with this one. And, yep, it's all in there. Just want to double check. Can you guys see that? Is it picking it up? There it goes. See how textured that cardstock is? But look how much shine I have. You just have to get it to stick. You just want to activate that adhesive because nobody's going to be wearing this. You don't have to heat it for 60 seconds or anything like that. Okay? Nobody's going to wear it. Once that glue activates on the paper, it's done. Okay? So I'm going to bring this in, and I am going to use wet glue because that foil, it's not going to affect that foil because it's not going to show. So I'm just going to place this right on top with my glue. Center it up. And then I did foam tape this up too. Ooh, I'm out of foam tape. I gotta make an order, and I missed that on Prime Day. I stocked up, but I missed that. I had 3 little partial rolls, so I had enough to get this project done. Make sure our card's going the right way, and then we're just going to center that in. How pretty. And you can stop there if you want, but I have my poster board here on my transfer tape, my Cricut transfer tape. And this is the easiest for me. Now I'm just going to put some glue on each one of those, I call them petals. And then on each end and in the center. And I got some messy glue there. I don't want that to end up on my card. There we go. So once I have all of that, then I'm going to flip it over and decide where I want it. And I'm going to stick it down. And I'm just going to give it a second for that glue to grab. You wanted to wear it. So. And once that's on there, guys, your transfer tape, just like you do with your vinyl, you're going to peel that corner back against the card, and you're going to peel it slowly back, making sure everything is stuck. If it's not stuck, your glue's not dry. Give that another second. And peel it right off. Just go slow. And now all your pieces are glued down, and you don't have to fight all of those teeny tiny little pieces at one time. Just a piece of used transfer tape. If it's not used Cricut transfer tape, pat it on your shirt or your jeans before you put it on your foil poster board. And the reason I say that, it probably won't hurt the foil poster board if you don't, but it might tear your cardstock when you peel it off if you don't detack it first. So make sure you do. Super easy, fun, and simple card. So you guys got to learn how my brain works in design. And it does fit perfectly into that envelope. And you can use a Velcro dot, magnets, whatever. If you're going to use a magnet, I would put them off, one on each side here rather than in the center, because you do have this little dip right here in the center. It's like a little hole. But yes, it's coming back. Iron-on cardstock. I was talking to, I forgot who it was, Sue, Marianne, Louise. One of them brought it up. Iron-on cardstock. And I know it's been years. The last time I did it, it was on a Mother's Day card. It's been a long time. I've used vinyl on cards since then, but it's been a long time since I did iron-on. And I had tons of scraps, and I thought, oh, maybe I should show you guys how to do that. So pretty. Does anybody have any questions? So you got to design and assemble all in an hour. And this card cuts quick, really quick. You need one sheet for your vinyl. I cut 2 of them, and it took me 2 sheets of white, 2 sheets of the blue for the envelope, and then just pieces on the rest. It was you, Sue. I knew it was one of you guys mentioned it in the chat. Hi, Kathy. So guys, don't throw away. I know that you're thinking, you don't know if you have those scraps. I keep all of my foil iron-on simply because you never know. But I mean, if it's 2 square inches, I keep it. I keep it. You never know when you need a small piece. If you're doing a wedding card, guys, you're not going to get any more beautiful foiling on your sentiment like that than you are with the Cricut foil iron-on. I tell you, it's just eye-popping. I wish that you could see it in person, because the camera just does not do it justice. You did it on your pina colada card too? I missed that, Marianne. I don't remember the pina colada card. If it was recent, I just haven't seen it yet. Does anybody have any design space questions? If you don't have the mini, just a regular easy press, yes, Debbie, keep moving. If you don't keep it moving, I would just maybe 3 seconds, 2-3 seconds is all you need. If you just want to press one solid press with the bigger press, I would say no more than 2 to 3 seconds. Oh, I think I do remember the time. Yes, I remember now. Thank you, Marianne, Louise. I remember. I did see it, Marianne. It was very pretty. Yeah, if you don't have the mini, just a few seconds. But yeah, I use it on the #1 setting. And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, done. So yeah, this, other than my Cricut, this is the most used tool in my craft space. I mean, I am to the point, if they ever discontinue this, I'm going to have to order 2 or 3 just in case anything ever happens to this guy. But it's been so durable. I mean, I'm not scared anything's going to happen to it, but if they ever discontinue it, I will have to have a backup just in case. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. If you have questions, anything you forgot to ask, or if you're trying to design and you forgot a step and you need help, reach out into the groups. We're happy to help you. Please leave a comment down below if you're not watching this live and you're coming back and viewing. Please leave a comment down below. Subscribe, give a thanks, share, or either give a super thanks. And if you're not a Patreon member, you can click on that link down below and become a patron as well. One of your favorites too, Lou. I don't know how anybody, if you've ever used one of these, you won't know how you got along in your craft room without it. Seriously. I mean, for real. It's just, it's always on my desk. All right, guys, I will catch you on, I will be sending out a card file tomorrow. It will be in my profile, so if you click the profile link down in the description of the video, then you will see it. If you're following me, it will be in there, and it's going to be cute. So make sure that you guys grab that, and then I will see everybody on... I don't know if I'm going to be going live Monday or if I'm going to do a pre-record. I will do my best to set up a live. If I can't, you will get a pre-recorded on Monday. You guys have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend. And I will catch you later. Happy crafting!